I want to present about introduction from article. Islamic banking, known as Islamic finance or Sharia compliance finance, is a term used to describe financial operations that follow Sharia law. The sharing of profit and loss, as well as the provision of interest collection and payment by lenders and investors, are two key concepts of Islamic banking. It is an Islamic financial management system based on Sharia law. Therefore, many questions have been raised in the current practice of Islamic banking about existing Islamic banks' compliance with Sharia or Islamic law. And this threatens the success of the Islamic banking system not only in countries where it coexists with the conventional banking system, but also in a fully Islamic banking system.
I will continue this presentation with my part about is the issue of the article. The major focus of this article is on current Islamic banks' adherence to Sharia or Islamic law. Furthermore, there are concerns about client views of present Islamic banking Sharia challenge in Malaysia. The purpose of this study is to investigate Islamic bank clients' impressions of their bank's adherence to Sharia. This study also seeks to analyze the exposure of Islamic bank customers to contemporary concerns of Islamic bank Sharia compliance, as well as their views of these issues as part of its unique objective.
One of the concerns that has sparked so much criticism of Islamic banks' Sharia compliance is ownership. The ownership requirement stipulates that the Islamic bank must own the asset, which entails incurring risks and liabilities in accordance with Al-Kharaj Bidaman or the Islamic principle of Al-Ghurma bil-Ghunmi, which states that there is no return without risks and liabilities. As a result, in all sales involving al-bay contract, the rule of ownership must take the precedence. Islamic banks attempt to solve the problem of ownership by relying on beneficial ownership. This is still prohibited by the Sharia.
New findings or significant information to the field of Islamic banking and financial system. From the criticism and the response from the interviewees in the article, it can be known some significant information to the field of Islamic banking and financial system. One of the significant information is Islamic banks do not have to follow the innovation from West totally. The other information is about the perception on the criticisms of the Islamic banks' Sharia compliance issues. The criticisms about those issues show that the operations of Islamic banks are understanding and aware by the customers.
The finding found from the study conducted, which are indicated by the article, revealed that the current criticism of the Sharia compliance of the Islamic banks realized by the interviewees. They also have considerable exposure about that. The other information to the field of Islamic banking and financial system is the necessary regulations should be implemented by policymakers and regulators to ensure the compliance of Islamic bank with Sharia.
I will continue my present about the current issues that related to the article. Ownership is one of the issues that have evoked such countless reaction with regard to the Sharia consistent of Islamic banks. The standard of ownership here implies that the Islamic banks ought to hold responsibility for resources, which is comparable to facing challenge and risk too. Following Al-Kharaj Bidaman or Al-Ghurmu bil-Ghunmi guideline in Islam, there is no return without risk and responsibility. Issues connected with the Sharia consistent of Islamic banks is the non-presence of a composed Sharia regulation as well as bookkeeping principle well defined for the Islamic financial industry. A few instruments like al-ijaroha thumma al-bay, musyarakah, murabahah, and so on are engaged based on customary guidelines and are recorded and treated as supporting as opposed to renting.
Now we go to the recommendation. The first of the recommendation is the Sharia banking system need to avoid the conventional banking system. One of the job scope is to try to create from a conventional product with a base of Islamic names such as hire purchase agreement, PBA, and others. In other hands, some of these products are even worse or precisely more dangerous than the conventional banking because of their Sharia aspect that they want to follow. Some research that also suggests the musyarakah to use, but many banks do not want to take any risk on using it because it is a low in profit for any bank company. It means that they are going business for money instead of achieving the maslahah that could be benefits to the community even more. It also can be set as a benchmark issue and also could overcome the problem. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is MUHAMAD ANWAR bin ANDRI and my matrix number is A20A2169. For the second recommendation is don't follow too much on the Western, which is the users of the credit cards. The Sharia compliance should have come out with something from their own perspective of innovation, which also can be beneficial for the other users of Sharia compliance and not rely too much on the other innovations. In the future, there are a lot of shortcomings that could probably happen, and that's why we can see a lot of criticism are made as the Sharia compliance are depending too much on the Western innovation compared to use their own innovation. This also can be seen where there's a lot of awareness that has been made among the practitioner and also the customer of the Islamic banks.
So we will move to the final part. Firstly, earlier to discuss on the Sharia compliance of Islamic banks from the encounter of the researcher. A few other subjects were raised in the mid-season. The discoveries of the thing about show that the questionings have significant presentation and mindfulness of the current feedback of Sharia compliance of Islamic banks. Lastly, this issue ought to be recognized by government specialists and pertinent administrative bodies in Islamic fund, and endeavor ought to be made to discover elective arrangement to this issue. Thank you.